Hey, what's up, Speedy's Garage Gang? Welcome back to the Speedy's Garage YouTube channel. I just got back from a nice cruise in Go Man Go here, and every time I drive this car, I just love it. I mean, if you've been watching the channel for a while, you know this is probably one of the most favorite cars I've ever had. I don't know how much horsepower it makes. Somebody's going to ask, and I honestly don't know, but it's a lot. And between tuning it myself and working with Mike from OST Dyno, we have got it super smooth. The tracks are starting to open. Spring is right around the corner, and I'm really anxious to see what it will pick up this year with all the changes that I made. The best it's run is a 970, and I think the highest, 970 in the quarter mile, and the highest mile per hour I think is about a 143. I'm planning to beat that. So my goal is a 950. I'm trying to keep it reasonable. You could probably go more than that, but it is still a stock red-eye engine after all, and they do have a limit. I don't want to go too crazy. What a shame that these are supposedly going to say coming to an end this year, with Dodge sort of changing directions underneath Stellantis. So that kind of leads me to what I was going to chat with you guys about today. It's a kind of a small update. If you've been following along, if you're in the culture, you probably know what all's going on, but I'm going to show you some of the stuff, and to say it's a little weird is probably an understatement. And we're going to do a comparison too, because it really feels like the marketing team just isn't the same as we had under the Demon days. So let's get into it. So I grabbed my laptop because there's quite a few details in here, and I don't want to mess any of it up for you guys. So if you didn't know, Dodge is coming out with some new crate engines, and they announced them a while back. This is not brand new news, but they're doing some with the Hurricane, which I'm not going to talk about because it's a inline six, and I'm more interested in the V8s. But they're going to they're calling them Elephant crate engines, which I don't really agree with. I kind of like the Elephant being that 426, the 1,000 horsepower. That I think they were originally going to put in a new car and then couldn't get it to pass emissions, or the emissions regulations changed, or what have you. You know, developing those engines probably takes them a little while. By the time they started to the time they ended, there had been a administration change, and with voting comes consequences, unfortunately. And so you'll argue with me that and say, well, those changes were made way back. Well, yeah, they were. They were made back under Obama and are just now coming into play. So I'm going to stick by my statement there. But they're coming out with these new crate engines. They're calling them Elephants. I wish they'd called them something else. And they're kind of doing it kind of a cool naming convention. I actually like the naming convention. They're sort of basing it on like an alcohol proof. So like when you buy alcohol at the store or whatever, it's 40 proof or whatever. The first one's an A30, and that was formerly known as the Elephant 426 supercharged Hemi crate engine. That's what this thing says. The reason they're calling it A30 is because it can run on up to 15% ethanol, which would be like your regular pump gas. So the 30 is your proof. That's kind of how alcohol proving works. The next interesting one is the A170, and A stands for aluminum. That's the designation there. And the 170 stands for E85, which means it can deliver about 1,100 horsepower on the E85 fuel. Then they're going to get into C30, and that's cast iron. The block's cast iron instead of aluminum, and a C170. So the reason that's important, and I'll leave a link to the top of my thoughts on what this last call number 7 car is going to be. And I talked about this months ago. If it's anything less than 1,000 horsepower, I don't think the goal would be met. I'm going to state that pretty clearly. I've seen a lot of people say it's going to be 909. I just don't think so. And I talked about why in that other video, but the short story is that's way too easy. Enthusiasts like me and like you, if you're watching this channel, some of you guys, we've already surpassed that by far with our own personal cars, and they're holding up great, and it didn't really take that much. Pulley tune, injectors, and good fuel, and you're there. So I would think Dodge want to do something a little bit more than that. The interesting thing about these engines being able to run E85 is, if we look at the bottom of the specs, it says ethanol sensor is included in the fuel rails. What's important about that is that tells me if they have a sensor, then it's going to be flex fuel. Now we're getting somewhere. You guys know that mine is tuned on what's called, what's it slipping my mind right now? Inferred logic is what I'm trying to think of. So basically what it does is it uses sensors to read variables from what's going on with the fuel injectors primarily, and from there it starts to adjust the car based on how much alcohol content it's reading through those sensors, and it can kind of figure that out. And it works really, really well. I've had no trouble with it in mine. Once you get it dialed in, and factory cars like Ford's flex fuel vehicles and Dodge's flex fuel vehicles, they actually use inferred logic from the factory, and I've mentioned that before. To my knowledge, at least from the American cars that I know of, Chevy is the only one that actually used a sensor that would detect the ethanol content. Personally, I think a sensor is a better way to go because it's reading it right out of the fuel that the car is getting, and you know it's right, rather than relying on a computer to read a sensor and then infer from that sensor. You know, it's kind of doing a calculation from a calculation, for lack of a better term. And I think reading it right off a sensor is probably a better solution. But again, it's been working fine in mine, so I don't think it's a negative, but I do think it's a positive to get the sensor in the fuel rail. The reason I mention all of that is because I believe this last car that's coming is going to be flex fuel, and it's going to have to be at least 1,000 horsepower. My prediction was 1,009 way back when. Now we're going to get to the meat and potatoes, and that is, it's almost coming up on when they're going to announce it. I think we're like 2 or 3 weeks away, and Dodge has been dropping little Easter egg videos, and they started doing this, at least that I can remember, with the Demon, and it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed the Dodge Demon teaser videos leading up to the car's announcement, and I'll put a sample in here because you're going to want to compare it to what we get now. Okay, so you saw a couple of those teaser videos for the Demon, and they were like full-on production. I mean, the first one was like a movie, you know, really high quality, some cool teasers. You know, the animal comes out and it bites into it's a cat. It comes out and it bites into the fuel can, which we now know was race fuel on the crate PCM, and then it turns into a Demon. That gives me cold chills to even, I mean, that's marketing brilliance. It just gives me cold chills to even think about it. Now I'm going to show you what we get today. Okay, are you confused? Because I know I am. I mean, I don't know what's going on over at Dodge. It obviously can't be the same marketing team, I wouldn't think. Obvious the budget has been reduced a lot because we're getting a computer animation of a leprechaun. I'm hoping that they still impress us. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to beat up on Dodge. I've got one and I love the car. I hate to say it, but sometimes you got to be a realist, and I just got to say it feels like they've lost their way somehow. I mean, we know with this electric car, it's not very popular. Most people, at least that I talk to, aren't really interested in it. I'm not. I don't plan on ever getting one. We're really disappointed that the Hellcat is supposedly going away and the Hemi V8 is going away. I don't even know if I believe that. It wouldn't surprise me. Dodge has done this kind of stuff before. Look at the Hellcat Durango. That is the most recent example. Nope, you better get it now. Can't ever get it again. People went out and bought them thinking they're going to be collector's items. What happened in 2023? Hellcat Durango got brought back. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if they say, nope, not going to do it, no more Hemi V8s. And then a year from now, maybe 2 years from now, oh, we figured it out. Now we got a Hemi V8 that's back. Hopefully it's supercharged like the ones that come in the Hellcat, only better with a flex fuel sensor on them. But this Leprechaun thing is really bizarre. We got the first teaser, which was just the face, which was weird enough. Then we got the second teaser where it's a Leprechaun with an IV bag, which most people assume that that's going to be your E85. What would have been, I guess they couldn't do it for political reasons, but would have been really funny is them freaking shooting up. You know what I mean? Like that might as well be what it is with a bag hanging and all that with the needles and stuff. And now we got this latest video. It's got something to do with mass or density or weight, where it shows the E85 infused Leprechaun is more than the regular Leprechaun. I don't know, guys. I'm not into Leprechauns. It's hard to go back and think they did the demon marketing as well as they did it, and now we're getting this Leprechaun stuff. So I hope they surprise us and ends up being super cool. The other rumor that I've seen floating around is that whatever this last car is will have the wide body flares only on the back. I don't know about that. I haven't been a fan of the wide body flares, period. It's grown on me some, and I thought it would. It's one of those things when you first see it, you're like, whoa, it's way too, not ready for that yet. After I've seen them a few times with their, more concave wheel, they got the wider tire on them. They look okay. Still probably not something I would personally want. I would rather have seen them flare the fenders, and I get why they couldn't, right? It's expensive to change the body style for a model like that. It was much easier for them to kind of punch holes in the panels and then snap on the flare and have some tape or something on the back to seal it up. And I get why they had to do that, but to only put that on the back, I don't know that I could ever get over that. Like, it's not something I would be super interested in. I wouldn't really like that. The final thing is going to be, we're seeing it with the other 6, and the other 6 special editions were just really almost 100% stickers and paint colors. Other than that, even the black Ghost model, I feel like they missed the mark a little bit. It was cool that they kind of did it as a tribute to the original Black Ghost. That was kind of neat, but they made it an automatic. How awesome would it have been if they had put a manual transmission in that car? They already have them. They should have stuck a manual transmission in it to follow the heritage of the original Black Ghost car. Like, then you've got something. It's mechanically different. What they've got with the current release is a black red eye with silver wheels and vinyl stickers on the roof. That's what it basically boils down to. I don't even know that it has a special code on the order form. If you know different, leave me a message and let me know. But some people were posting some pictures online of the order forms, and it didn't even designate it was a special model Black Ghost car. So that would be a little disappointing. And the dealers are marking them up through the roof. I've seen them advertised at $200,000 and $300,000 for what's basically a red-eye jailbreak, which is insane. And I'm really surprised that people would pay that for a car that's just basically a sticker package with different colored wheels on it. Maybe I'm missing the boat. I'm not a car collector. I like to drive mine and enjoy them, but maybe I don't, I'm not experienced enough there to know when something's going to be worth a lot. But I say all that to say this last car, this number 7 final edition, the markups on it are going to be outrageous. And I'll be surprised if we ever see one, because most of the dealerships that get them, the owners will probably snatch them up. And we don't even know how many they're going to make yet. So that's kind of the update for this week. Leave me some comments and let me know what you guys think about this Leprechaun marketing theme. It just seems really bizarre to me. I guess we'll see how it goes. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Be sure to check us out on Instagram. It's at Speedy's_garage, as well as the website, www.speedysgarage.net. And hopefully, I'll see you out there.